Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LSU podcast with the Red Zone Report. I am Scott Gerard, and joining me again is Tommy Johnson, and we are also joined by Daniel Zollinger. Welcome, guys.
What's up?
Hey, how's it going, Scott?
All right. I want to get into it. A lot of stuff to cover, even though it's June. So LSU football, they actually had the freshmen coming in this week. Everyone showed up, I think, except two, due to academic reasons. But, you know, who knows? That could be because they still have to finish a class. There's a test yet to be taken. Or, I don't know, maybe it's something they have to cover with some coursework because they are in junior college. But Ed Orgeron's class is pretty much there on campus, I believe. Right?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, last time we talked, I saw
Cardell Thomas.
Yeah, I saw Cardell Thomas in the student union getting his Tiger card. So, you know, he not surprised he's the first one on campus, but kind of the leader of that class. And now everyone else is showing up. I think it's going to be good as we get into fall camp.
Yeah, it's going to be. Go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, definitely good for the summer. Go ahead and start building that chemistry early. You want all your recruits in there, just kind of working with the seniors and everybody and just bringing them up to speed so you can launch right into the fall.
Yeah, just get that competition going early because a lot of guys that are hungry. Two other things. One, I saw that Jonathan Giles entered the transfer portal. Now, that could not be anything because, you know, that happened last week with Kelvin Joseph, and, you know, his dad kind of cleared that up and said he was coming back. But I don't know. I kind of get the feeling that, you know, this is probably the real deal because, you know, he came in with a lot of hype, but didn't quite live up to it. You know, he had the number 7, which usually goes to expected stars, but you know, he changed numbers after that first year. But, you know, then I think he only had, you know, a few receptions, maybe 58 yards or something like that. But I don't know. I think he's probably gone.
Yeah, I tend to agree. You know, I had a lot of respect for Giles kind of giving up the 7 because I think it takes some humility to say, basically I'm not worthy to wear this number. And I mean, he's a good player. He's a good receiver. You know, I don't think he's an Odell Beckham or a Jarvis Landry, but yeah, I tend to agree with you that he's probably gone. I hate to see it just because I don't like to see any of our players leave. I don't like to see, even if they're not, you know, on the field a lot. I feel like that could, especially as we talked about last week with the transfer portal, I feel like that could kind of bring about some stuff in the locker room of, you know, well, my friend, you know, they're all friends. My friend Jonathan, he just left. I'm not getting playing time I like. Maybe I'll leave. So I don't want to start that off, but, you know, I guess I wish the best to him. I hope he can find a place where he can, you know, shine on the field and do as well as he can.
Yeah, you kind of see it. I mean, one thing, LSU kind of lacks a true, like, number 1 wide receiver, and that's kind of one of the biggest questions for me going into the season. We have a lot kind of middle-of-the-pack guys like Jamar Chase, Derek Dillon, Terrace Marshall, but, I mean, there's just a little bit lack of experience there, and maybe Giles just wants to be that number 1 guy somewhere else when he's kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit here, especially since he actually transferred into LSU from Texas Tech, so this isn't really anything new to him.
Yeah, and he was, I think he had like 1,100 plus yards that season at Texas Tech before he transferred. So, yeah, we kind of thought he was going to be the number 1, especially since, you know, they gave him the 7, but you know, I guess it just didn't pan out. But LSU also had some good news this week. They had a local recruit decide to stay home with Major Burns. I don't know if you guys saw the video he used to commit. So I almost got a little teary-eyed, I'm going to admit. But, I mean, it was just a great get for the Tigers to get him to stay home, right?
Yeah, I think it's a really pivotal get because, I mean, we all know LSU is DBU. We got a plethora of great cornerbacks, but to pick up a safety, a strong safety at that, with that much hype around him, he's a hometown kid. I think it's a great get and a great start to this coming recruiting season, which is already shaping up to be really good. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned that video he committed with the video's titled "Happy Birthday, Mom" on Twitter. You can go see it at Major Burns 6. It's just real emotional and getting tribute to his mom. You love to see that type of stuff, the heart among the players, and just really this is kind of a major commitment in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Ed Orgeron, anytime he can get a local guy to stay home, that's a victory on top of a victory, because guys like Saban can come here and just pick who they want, but if you can get him to stay home, that's all the better. Speaking of home, Tiger Stadium, voted many times the best stadium atmosphere, at least the best tailgating. Probably going to get a little bit better. The SEC this week recently voted to approve beer sales. And I'm not sure how this is going to go. It's already the best tailgating experience. People are going in there, especially with a night game. They're going in there kind of rosy cheeks. But now you're going to give beer to Tigers fans. I think this could be a great thing, or I don't know. It could be a not so great thing. What do you guys think?
So, Scott, have you ever heard about what happened with I think it was the Cleveland Indians when they had 10-cent beer night? This was way back in the 70s.
I remember something about that, yeah.
It was a huge promotion. They couldn't get anybody to come to the game, so they offered 10-cent beer night. Everyone came out to the game. Everybody was, a little bit, as you said, rosy-cheeked. And it turned into just pandemonium, and people were on the field, and people were throwing things, and I don't even think they finished the game, and that did not happen again. I feel like it might end up like that. That would be something if it did. It might add to that atmosphere and that myth of Tiger Stadium. But, I mean, in all honesty, it's probably going to be fine. Obviously, a good revenue getter for LSU and the LSU athletic department. I'm sure they're going to make a ton of money off of it. It's not like anyone who wants to drink doesn't drink at Tiger Stadium already. So, I think it's I wouldn't say it's a non-story, but I think that the impact it's going to have is maybe a little bit overblown on the negative side. Yeah.
A couple schools have already came out. I think it was Alabama, Auburn, maybe Mississippi State said that they're still not going to sell anything at their stadiums. So, I mean, maybe they're trying to stick to tradition, or just don't really want everything that kind of comes along with that. But we'll see how that goes. I don't think LSU has really made an announcement one way or the other. I do know that Georgia, they said that they'll only be selling beer, I think it's to donors over $100,000 or something, and season ticket holders. Plus, they can only drink the beer in an enclosed concourse where you can't even see the game. So to me, that would definitely not be worth it at all. But either way, we'll see how it shakes out.
And, there's already that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. Well, I was just going to say, I saw that about Georgia, and I guess the thing about it's only open to donors, that's one hurdle. I guess they're trying to keep it responsible, because day drinking for students could turn bad quickly. But to not be able to watch the game, I can't imagine what their reasoning was for that.
Well, there's already that, and yeah, I agree with you on that. I don't really know, other than they want to boost donors. They think that's going to pull in more people to donate. And I guess the other thing is, when we think about donors, we think I bet they're donating thousands of dollars, but you can be classified as a donor off of a $50 donation. So I don't know what the donor, what their limit is, or their hurdle you have to reach for donations. But also the in Tiger Stadium, there's already that beer garden place. I've never been to it, but it's on the other side of the stadium. So you can already.
It's called the Shoot.
That's what it is. The Shoot.
Yeah, they didn't have beer though, did they?
I think they do.
Oh, interesting.
Is that right, Daniel?
Well,
I think they do.
I really don't know.
Okay.
I don't have that elite access.
Yeah, Yeah, you might be right. I think you paid a fee. I think it was like $20 or $30, and you got like one drink and like one food item or something like that, which would be worth it just for the access because they didn't have it before. And for Georgia, I think it was a minimum donation of like 25,000.
Oh my god!
So they were obviously. Yeah, I know. They were really trying to curb who they allowed to drink in the game. But honestly, I went to Georgia. I went to games. They're going to do what they usually do. These guys are going to put the Jack Daniels in the Ziploc bags and tape it to their underwear lining and just get a Coke at the game, Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It'd be interesting if it, spreads to basketball or baseball games too. Because I can't imagine the box with beer sales. It's already lit as is.
Yeah, there's a lot of college baseball stadiums that offer beer. Like for instance, our hometown in Monroe, ULM started offering like beer sales. Like what, 5 years ago, Daniel? I think it was 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess trying to drum up the attendance.
Trying to just get people to come because like nobody would come. And I want to say it like actually worked. I'm not sure, but I remember the coach like the year after, because the coach like pushed it. He was like, "We're gonna do this." I remember him coming out after like the first year was like, "Yeah, this is our best year ever for people coming out."
Oh, so it worked for them. Well, that's good. Yeah. And speaking of baseball, the Tigers play a little bit later today in their Super Regional, which this season that had so many high hopes, and then they were kind of dampened a little bit by how the season played out. But they're hosting a Super Regional again, and got FSU coming into town. I would like to think the Tigers, would be favored here. I think they are. I think they were favored, but I don't know. FSU, their coach, Mike Martin, I think this is his last year. So I think they have a little bit more to play for. LSU can't take them lightly, but I do think the Tigers, with the home field advantage, it should be a good series no matter what,
Yeah. And Scott, I have to say, I think that the both of us, I think we owe a little bit of an apology to the Tigers, because we were both a little bit, hesitant on booking our tickets to Omaha. We both said that. Now you were ready to go to Athens, which if I'm in Atlanta, I'd be ready to go too. But I got to say, I'm on Expedia right now, looking at fare to Omaha. No, I'm kidding. But regardless, I really like our chances here, and FSU, like you said, they are playing for their coach last year, but like we've always said, it's hard to win in the box. There's always some magic that happens when the Tigers are at home, and I think we'll see ourselves in Omaha after a couple games.
Yeah, it'll definitely be competitive. I mean, Florida State this year, they were a good but not dominating team, but then they did really play well in the Athens Regional, pretty much destroying Georgia twice back-to-back, and so that's definitely a good stamp in their book, and they kind of roll in with that momentum. But then LSU played well, kind of the same thing, but didn't really crush Southern Miss, but did the job, and then kind of backdoored our way into the Super Regional. And then I think that's kind of the key thing. It's just a home atmosphere where they're more comfortable. Florida State actually has a losing record this season in away games, so maybe that's something where they'll falter. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, I saw that. When I saw their away record, I thought, all right, well, that'll definitely play into the Tigers' favor. And it does matter, how you're playing right before. Momentum has a lot to do with it, but both teams have momentum. So I guess we'll find out in a few hours who has the better momentum. But that's not the only news this week, obviously, because there was the MLB draft, and Paul Maneri was lucky because I think he only lost out on one major recruit, and out of the draft anyway. There were some guys that said, they had a pretty much like a high asking price. I think Cairo was one of them. But you saw that story where they had a Cairo on campus, and he was going through the motions, got everything set up admin-wise, and he was going to his advisor to set up his coursework. And then he got the call saying he was drafted, and then he walked right back into Paul Maneri's office and said, "Yeah, sorry, I'm going to go to the major league now." And what can you do? I know Paul didn't lose out on much, but I think that one kind of gutted him a little bit because he if you're on campus, he probably thought he had him, but it just didn't work out that way.
Yeah, that's a pretty remarkable story that he's going into the advisor's office. He's getting situated for classes, and then he gets that call of, "Hey, come play ball for us." But to tag off what you're saying about, they lost out on him, but they gained a player that I think they didn't expect to get in Maurice Hampton. Both Coach O and Maneri gained him with a nice dual sport athlete. Me and Dana were actually talking about this a couple days ago, how we haven't had a football and baseball player in a while. We were thinking about
since Chad Jones.
Since Chad Jones, I was about to say Chad Jones. So this guy is he's a safety, and he's expected to play, maybe get some playing time first year, but definitely play if he stays for 2 years at safety. But they say he's plug and play in the outfield like day one, and that he'll be starting on the baseball team next year. So he turned down, I want to say like $2 million or something.
Yeah, well, I think what
1.8, yeah.
Kind of expecting, to go in the early rounds. I think he fell a little bit to like the 6th or 7th round, and then at that point you kind of realize that maybe your prospects aren't that good, and then you build your resume a little bit at one of the best programs in the country, and then you come back and just move into that elite status, and he'll be fun to watch both in the fall and the spring for the Tigers, definitely.
Oh yeah, and but so LSU had some guys drafted. I think Josh Smith was the first one to go. He went to the Yankees. Zach Hess got drafted. Zach Watson, I think he went 79 overall to the Orioles. And Todd Peterson also got drafted. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens with those guys. But they also had Cade Doty coming in. So Maneri, kind of a up and down week as far as that goes, but I think they're in good position. They got some good recruits coming in. Nobody was drafted high enough to want to leave LSU, I don't think. So they should be good for next year, right?
Yeah, I agree. But here's something that me and Daniel have been tossing around. I think we kind of touched on it a little bit last week, but so I would say I felt like going into the regional. Do you think Maneri was on the hot seat?
I don't know. I thought if anyone, maybe Alan Dunn, just because LSU's only had for the last few years maybe two solid starters, and the other one's kind of been rotational. So I thought maybe Alan Dunn. I didn't know about Maneri. I thought maybe because they are still making regionals. Did you? Is there some rumblings in Baton Rouge I don't know about?
Well, okay, I am in a Facebook group that's entitled
"Here we go,
Clean House LSU," so you can tell what the point of that group is. But I mean, after I want to say after the series lost to Ole Miss, the chance of Fire Maneri were coming in. Now, I'm not saying I'm not really on the Fire Maneri trade, but I can see where. When you have a storied program that is just like so used, we talked about it last week of like, we're so used to just Omaha, where if you have a down year where we kind of didn't expect to be where we are right now, we're hosting a super regional where some of the big time, donors and the big time, big shots who kind of call the shots would say like, we need to change. So I'm glad to see him succeeding. I'm glad to see everything coming together at the right time because in baseball, that's what matters is just getting hot. But I did notice that Paul Maneri did not sit down during any of the games, so I could say his seat was probably pretty hot.
There you go. Yeah, you can kind of draw a little bit of a parallel maybe to like the late Les Miles years at LSU, where you have won a couple national championships, but then expectations are high every year, and maybe you're just underperforming with the talent, and you kind of settle into a little bit of complacency. And I think that's just kind of what people may or may not have been feeling about Paul Mainieri. Like, yeah, we made it to the World Series finals a couple of years ago, but like having the number one team coming in here, just not maybe quite living up, but then finding your late season groove. Kind of in my opinion, you'd think that if they do make it to the World Series, he kind of at least locks up that spot for the next maybe 2 or 3 years, and then kind of comes back up again if we don't do so well. But yeah, I mean, LSU fans can be a fickle bunch in that regard. They demand nothing less than the best.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've been spoiled so much, and, you know, they haven't had a title in, well, this year will make it 10 years. So I don't blame him, but, you know, as far as Paul Mainieri goes, he, you know, yeah, the way the season started, you know, losing getting swept by Texas, had he not made, you know, I guess a regional, or if they hadn't made it out of regionals, I think maybe he might have, you know, there might have been some talk of, well, is it time to move on? But, you know, here we are in Super Regional. If he goes to the College World Series again, you know, like you said, Daniel, I think they, you know, what do they move on to?
Yeah,
Augie
exactly.
Guerrero from Texas just retired. Mike Martin at FSU is retiring. I don't know if someone's going to come in and do as well as he does, because, you know, Mainieri's been around for a while.
Yeah.
So I don't know who they would move on to, but I guess we can wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it really is that the problem of just being spoiled, because, you know, we're so used to just the high performance championship. We demand a championship. But when you get, you know, we were competing for a championship 2 years ago, and we lost in the last game. So you can't really go much high. Like you said, who are you going to get that's going to get you that far and put you over the top? Like, it's not just as easy as hiring some new guy.
Yeah, right. I think this is all Skip Bertman's fault. You know, if he hadn't done so well and won 5 titles in, you know, like 15 years or something, I don't think these fans would be that bad. But I don't know. Baseball in general in the SEC is really, really hot. And you just look at all the teams that are in super regionals right now. And, you know, if they make it to the World Series, they'll probably face them again. We talked about that last week, too. I don't know. I think their program is in such a good position that they have that name brand. So even if they were to move on from Mainieri, I don't think it would drop, really.
No, but I don't think they could. I don't think one move on the head coach would, or the manager would instantly take them over the top and have them winning 3 championships in a row. I think you'd probably be somewhere where you are right now.
Right. I agree. And shifting really quickly to another sport we haven't talked about yet, but LSU track is actually this week they were at Austin competing for the Nationals, and some Tigers were showing up there. We actually had one national championship with Javay Harrison. He won the long jump championship with a record of 26 feet 11 inches. So congrats to him. In LSU baseball relations here, Mondo Duplantis, brother of Antoine, he was he was considered to be the best and might have won, but the guy that won it last year actually ended up winning. But Mondo did come in second, and I think the Tigers had there's some relays today. It's like, I think this is the last day, right? But there's some relay races today that are still yet to be decided. But they had a football player racing in Kerry Vincent, right? That's who it was.
He's on the men's 4x100 meter relay, and then also I think he runs the 100 meters himself. But yeah, they qualified for the finals, and so yeah, good luck to them. I think LSU as a team, their men's is just in this article that I'm seeing, currently 6th overall in the country, like as a team. So you love to see that. And then also just shout out to Javon Harrison bringing that championship home. And then Mondo Duplantis, he's only a freshman, so finishing 2nd in the country as a freshman. Yeah, that's great to see, and he'll continue that for the next couple of years. I know he's already competing at an international stage for Sweden, which is his mother's home country, so he has a natural-born citizenship right there. So kind of sad that he's not playing for the old US of A, but good to see him getting that international experience.
Yeah, it's good to hear some real in-depth citizenship rights and analysis here on the LSU Sports podcast.
Yeah, good pull on that info there, Daniel. I did not even know about that.
Yeah, it's really weird because isn't it something like Antoine Duplantis is also like a Swedish citizen as well?
Yeah,
we looked that up.
Antoine, his older brother, he has Swedish citizenship rights, but I think he's declared for USA baseball. So, and I think you can only pick once, and then so after that, you're kind of stuck with who you want. But maybe the Swedish baseball program isn't exactly stellar.
Right. So he's probably better being stuck, as you say, with the USA team. But I don't know. Any final thoughts, guys, before we wrap it up here? I know we covered a lot, but I don't know if there was something we did cover.
One thing I just wanted to mention is the weather conditions in Baton Rouge right now with the significant flooding that we've had. Just wanted to tell everybody there to stay safe, watch out for what's going on. I know, Tommy, you were in Baton Rouge. I don't know if you have anything about that, but just especially this weekend's game with the baseball, any rain that might happen.
Well, I can say that downtown Baton Rouge on Thursday, I almost lost my car. The flooding was so bad, it was like I was swimming through the streets, and I was really concerned about my car. Luckily, it's okay. And if it continues to rain like it did, like if we get another rain like we did on Thursday, just stay inside. Don't drive anywhere. I know I won't be, but hopefully we can. Hopefully the rain holds off. We can get these games in. And then we'll see you in Omaha.
Yeah, that's the plan. And stay safe. I actually saw that video of some students riding it looked like a campus bus, and there was just water sloshing all around the floor. I know they closed the campus. I think it was for like some winter weather that never, wasn't really much, but I guess it was okay for them to drive through the water. And have classes anyway. But, like you guys said, keep it safe. And hopefully we can see the Tigers in Omaha. But that'll do it for us today. Again, I am Scott Gerard. Joining me was Tommy Johnson and Daniel Zollinger. We'll see it again next time on the LSU podcast with the Red Zone Report. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.